there's a couple angles with them from a season-long standpoint. So by beating Tampa, like they're going to be, well, they actually can be the 2, depending on how Minnesota plays at the end of the year. They could be the 3 or the 2. It really doesn't matter. I mean, they would prefer not to go to Minnesota if they had the choice. They'd rather Minnesota come to their place where they basically like don't lose this year. They're set up in such an advantageous half of the bracket now. Like all these seeds are going to hold. Either Minnesota's going to have to go to them, or they're going to have to go to Minnesota, and that's San Francisco like the whole way, basically, in terms of how that half of the bracket's going to shake out. So like, I think you can actually feel pretty confident, not in like guaranteeing things, in saying that the Niners are a very, very, very likely championship game participant. That they're very likely to be one of the 2 NFC representatives in the championship game. Now there can be upsets, there could be injuries. And Brock Purdy could get hurt, and Josh Johnson has to start a playoff game, and like then anything's obviously possible at that point. But if you're just trying to kind of like, all right, you're putting the bracket down the way it would exist right now. Some of the seeds were very confident that those teams are going to have those spots, and then you just project forward, almost like you were filling out a bracket for March Madness or something. I mean, look, it's Niners hosting a bad wildcard team that they will beat 90% of the time, and then it's them playing Minnesota, either hosting the game or going to Minnesota. And has anybody been paying attention to what's been happening with Minnesota the last few weeks? Probably a bottom 10 team in the league the last 5 weeks, something like that. And that's San Francisco a lot of the time too. And then they're in the championship game. Like that's all it takes. Beat a bad wildcard team, beat Minnesota here in the championship game. So that could have been Tampa if they won, obviously. That was part of the angle. But I mean, I even said, like, I went with Tampa because the price was great, but it was whoever you liked in that game, now they get this setup, right? Now they get this really advantageous path. And for the Niners, it's just going to be, do they have any healthy bodies left for when that playoff run actually happens to get there? But even if they're not healthy, the path to the championship game is easy versus what a lot of these other teams are going to have to go through.